So there's an old 1950s, 1960s Western called The Rifleman, in which the titular character, Lucas, gets his shotgun and goes, and then it says, "Oh, Rifleman," starring Chuck Connors. It's a TV show when I was watching when I was 17 in 2007. And I was thinking, Chuck Connors, what a name. First name, Kevin. And I completely forgot about him until I heard about, get ready for this, The Tourist Trap from 1979. An interesting movie. Of course, four teenagers are on their way when their car gets stalled. Lo and behold, they come across a place that is desolate, barely receives any visitors. A mannequin museum. And as they pull up, lo and behold, there comes this hero, comes a person whose name, well, he's portrayed by Chuck Connors, yes. And I'm thinking, he had yellow hair and was tall at 6 feet. I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. Mannequins, those are always little creepy bastards, always in the mall. Used to display the latest clothes and accessories and everything else, which is A-okay. But instead of them being products to advertise, let's have them just be creepy. In here, this is definitely creepy. The two most famous people in here would be definitely Chuck Connors and also Tanya Roberts, who would go on to star in Playboy and then play one of the moms in that 70s show. I think, the one that sounds with that voice. Yeah. I think it's one of her earlier roles, and I was thinking, okay, what's this about? Well, it's got the standard style of slowly eliminating people. It's like, okay, like, all right, we have them slowly being eliminated. One person gets stabbed with a knife, which was an interesting way of how they did it, but definitely it's the scenes and just the uneasy atmosphere that make this work. Very specifically how he creates the mannequins, and it's with two of her friends in tow. There's one lady who is restrained on a table, and as the guy slowly begins to put, I forgot what he calls it, this concoction around her face so that she slowly stops breathing. As it spreads on her face, this is all done with like either one or two takes, and when you just watch it, it's just, it is disturbing, but in the right way. As it slowly gets applied, she stops breathing, and lo and behold, she slowly becomes a mannequin. It actually did it with mashed potatoes. But when you're just looking at it, it's just like, it's done in the eerie way, and I'm thinking, ooh, this is creepy. It's like, in the beginning, you have this, it's like, this movie is, what it's trying to do is say is like, once this highway came, most of the traffic went away, because locals would be able to just come in off of like a main road of like, I don't know, if you were to take I-75, you could just go down that way. But before that, it laments the death of local business, because people would just take like a main road, know it's a tourist trap, and they just come in and visit. But now that people could go 70 miles an hour on I-75 or whatever, most of the business just evaporated, so now only barely any people come in. So this was just lamenting the fact of, like, this was when Eisenhower said, okay, go ahead and have the interstate program going on. It took 40 years to complete. That's what this kind of was. That would also explain how you say, oh, when the highway came in, that's pretty much what's going on, like the death of these small towns. Like, yeah, here is portrayed well because we have the very nice, affable person, and there's a person who wears a mask, and he's creepy. He's got just this certain mask on. It's like, when you see it, then you'll know. It's like, what is going on here? It's like, it just works well. It's like the Phantom of the Opera mask, but instead of just one side, it's like right down here to where he can still breathe and everything. And it's just haunting and works. For me, it seemed, when I was watching it, I noticed that the grittiness of it, it's not the greatest quality. It's like 480p, but I think it worked well to add more of the unease of the factor. You know what with the it being in the middle of nowhere to the close-ups. All those freaking mannequins. When I just look at them, they look so lifelike and real. Just the detail that they put into it, especially in the beginning, where a whole bunch of them come alive and scare the ever-living crud out of one person. It's just it's just freaky, but in a good way that I liked. I'm looking at it like this is just not. This is just disturbing, and all the shapes and sizes, and all the close quarters of the house is just so. It's just so right that you just have to see it for how disturbing it is. Like I said, with the scene specifically, when they're like when Connors is on screen and all the ones are still around, it's like, yeah, you can tell that something's going off. It's like, what's happening? Well, eventually, the one remaining, what was that? The final girl sees, yeah, that both the demented brother who wears the phantom mask and the affable man are the same person, and it just adds to the unease of everything of how Connors was able to portray the affable man, with a limp, like something's going on, but then also have the brother who's just disfigured. I guess the word would be creating a paradox, and actually really dang good performance. How it can go from like being friendly and everything to demented, wearing the wig and everything else, and especially like in the last, I don't know, roughly 15 minutes of where she's trying to escape, and then that yes, the mannequins are communicating telepathically to him, and he's able to pretty much see her escaping, but thankfully she manages to escape, puts an axe through him, and just escapes with their friends, but being pretty much mentally disturbed for quite a while. So yeah, this is an eerie film, eerie in the correct way. Yes, there is some music, but it's not like you. It's not like you rely on the music way too much to be able to get overwhelmed by it. It augments the atmosphere and adds just everything. And even seeing, I think Jerry was the only guy in the group of how he supposedly has like the firearm. He's ready to just eliminate or eliminate the schmuck, but then eventually he starts to become the a mannequin as well and gets his head removed. It's yeah, I like it. I like how mannequins look, but it's like this is a slow burn. It is a slow-paced movie to lure you into a false sense of security. Of okay, yeah, he's definitely trustworthy. The guy may be a little weird with saying like, yeah, how the highway removed everything, but it's free admission, 10 to 6, Monday to Friday. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, yeah, this is definitely a movie that like the mannequins are done. There were movies about mannequins, but I can't think of too many myself. So to have this going on and just to see them communicate, turn around and move everything, definitely on something. It's such a interesting for the time. It's still interesting premise, and it works very well. You also get Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes because this was edited by the same person who did it in 1974. So it's just like holy smokes, Yeah, obviously there's also, you have the woman, you have them all like who are skinny dipping, and surprisingly there is no nudity because the stars didn't want to do it because of I don't know if it just wouldn't fit with the theme that well. Which honestly, if they were to show the TNA, it would feel distracting. And I'm actually glad they didn't do that. And this was one of the few slashers to receive a PG. This was 5 years before PG-13, so it got regular rotation on TV. And it kind of revived Chuck Connor's career because at this time, what was it? He was shooting, he had a heroin addiction, and also smoked 3 packs of cigarettes on the Rifleman set. So yeah, he could, if he had just stayed clean, he would have been, as he quoted, want to have been the Boris Karloff of the 1980s with his physical presence and voice. I agree, but yeah. So yeah, ultimately, if you want to see a slow-paced movie that I truly believe is underrated, that your mileage may vary on it based on the speed and just how atmospheric and disturbing it is, I actually, yeah, I actually do recommend that you do watch Tourist Trap.